Some guys returning matter more than others. We will see you in Charlotte. That's what Jordan Davis said, announcing his return to the Georgia Bulldogs for the 2021 season. And this is about as big as it gets for Georgia. No, you'll have to excuse the pun. Dean Legge from Dog Post making you a smarter Georgia fan. Jordan Davis is as critical a individual player in the starting 22 as anyone outside the quarterback for Georgia. Georgia doesn't have another guy like him. Most teams don't. Most programs don't. And with the exception of the return of JT Daniels, Jordan Davis is about as consequential as it gets. And here's the reason why. You've got a lot of running backs, a lot of wide receivers, tight ends, offensive linemen, a slew of linebackers, and other defensive linemen, but they're not quite like Jordan. And you don't have to take my word for it. All you have to do is get your calculator out and do some math. Georgia allows 20% fewer points with Jordan Davis in there than when he's not. So they're averaging somewhere around 20 points a game this season. When Jordan was in there, it was about 16. That's a pretty big difference, okay? That's a pretty big difference anytime you have that much productivity gone. And you saw it. You saw it in their game against the Gators when Florida could sort of run. They ran enough to where they weren't facing 3rd and 9. That game would be very different if it were played today. I mean, because you start talking about, Richard LeCount didn't come back the rest of the year because of injury. Jordan Davis did, and you could see it when he did. I mean, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't think anyone scored over 30 points from that point forward, and I don't know if anyone scored over 3 touchdowns on Georgia with Jordan Davis in the game. You can check when he returned. Alabama did. I don't know if Tennessee scored 3 touchdowns on offense. So it really is a matter of identifying your best players and getting them to come back. And for Jordan Davis, this move, to me, is smart. And here's a couple of reasons why. Well, the main reason is the guy can come back and probably be a first-round draft pick. I normally say top 50, so let's just stick with top 50. But that's totally in the realm of possibility for Jordan Davis. He's a guy that Georgia really did miss when he was out for the Florida game and then the Mississippi State game right after that. I don't think he returned until the Missouri game. So you're talking about someone who only played, who missed 3 of Georgia's 10 games. So when we were talking to Dan Lanning, the defensive coordinator at Georgia, before the bowl game with Cincinnati, he talked about how it did matter if you could tell if Jordan Davis was in the ball game. Today, Glenn Schumann talking about how one of the linebackers coaches at Georgia talking about how his linebackers would appreciate that Jordan Davis was there. He's a likable person. He's a Jolly Green Giant in many ways. I saw him play, but he played offensive line for Mallard Creek when I watched him play Zamir White in the fall of 2017. He's a special player in a way that you don't notice. He had the block kick against Cincinnati. He had the middle of the defense basically locked down for the bulk of that Peach Bowl. He is a key to the season for Georgia. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I don't want to undersell it either. This is as important as anyone coming back, with the exception maybe of JT Daniels. And you can win without quarterbacks. It makes it harder. And you can win without defensive linemen too. But I don't know. In the case of Jordan, is so important because it lets your other guys do what they are wanting to do or need to do. You got Devontae Wyatt coming back. You're going to have Nolan Smith, Trayvon Walker. I'm just looking at this list over here. You've got guys coming back that can really stack house. It allows those guys to, not play as much in the situation that, like a Nazir, who is still developing, Nazir Stackhouse. So you're looking for your really big guys, Zion Logue, guys like that who will eventually play where Jordan's at. you're looking for them to still develop. But for Jordan to come back, this definitely, I mean, the path to Atlanta for the SEC East, it's as clear as it's ever been for Georgia, probably. Certainly in the time when Kirby Smart was here. 2017 was relatively obvious they would win it, but not before the season. I think before the season, it just, you would have to really explain to me in a way that I would have a hard time understanding that someone else is going to win the SEC East in 2021. For the SEC, if you win the SEC next year, or if you talk about winning the SEC next year, that means you're talking about winning the national championship too. So you're in a situation with this program where you've got the return of three very important players, two of them extremely important in JT Daniels and then also Jordan Davis. But the addition of James Cook coming back, he is a different gadget type of guy. I don't know if he's an all down back, but he just scores so easily. So three players for Georgia so far, and we're still waiting on a couple for Zamir. Zamir coming back will be a big deal. If you are a subscriber at Dog Post, this is not surprising news to you. That's the value of Dog Post. We suspected this, and we reported that we suspected that Jordan would come back. We thought Tyson Campbell would leave. Obviously, at that point, Eric Stokes had already gone. So far, if you're a Dog Post subscriber, you know these things. We appreciate y'all subscribing. If you are not a member of the website, this is where the value is. This stuff isn't shocking. But when it's confirmed and the player announces it, it does drive home just what you're talking about. And we thought JT Daniels would come back too. We weren't certain, but we thought JT Daniels would come back too. So we're doing okay on our intelligence. But I would encourage you to take advantage of the website. I don't always come on here and pitch the website, but this is a good example. You're talking to people who value their fandom at Georgia by wanting to talk to smart people who are Georgia fans as well. Back to Jordan Davis and what all of this means. You are getting to the point where, clearly this is going to be the team to beat in the SEC East. I don't know if you can ever say that Georgia is going to clearly be the team to beat in the SEC because you always have to deal with the teams in the West. But they are going to be, if they're not the favorite to win the league, it's either them or Alabama or maybe LSU, Texas A&M. I mean, you start talking about all the guys Alabama's losing. Texas A&M today, Kellen Mond declaring for the draft. And then, LSU would have to develop a lot, but they have really good players. So this is a Georgia-Alabama fight probably again, and we'll see how Bama restocks. They're never down, it doesn't seem like. But this Georgia team is looking like it could be special, but they got to go do it. And the reason why it's an important thing for Jordan to come back, for JT Daniels, for James Cook, these are the guys that Clemson will have to deal with right away. And that's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough draw dealing with Jordan Davis. I mean, you're losing two special players out of your backfield in Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, and they're replacing them with good players, no question. And in fact, some really good players. But are they what they are being? Are they what they've replaced? No, they're not. And the return of Jordan will make the margin of error even that wider for Georgia as this season goes on. Whether you're talking about the first game of the season or the game with the Gators or at Auburn, there's only so many games Georgia can lose. And that they can lose them doesn't mean they will. So, I think Georgia fans should be excited. I do not think that, they have not gotten bad news yet. We will talk more about the 2021 season as it goes on, but for Jordan Davis to come back, which we suspected over at Dog Post, you're really talking about how Georgia can do some serious damage in 2021, for sure. Thanks for watching. Go to the website, and if you're not interested in that quite yet, here's more playlists of Brock Vandegrift. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the website.